You were telling on the other context about this, the saving,
Yes.
the domestic saving has come down
Yes.
actually significantly, and
Yeah.
one of the, the domestic consumption on food grain, provision, milk, vegetable, they constitute something like 60% of our, middle class and lower middle class, as per the younger, for the old style and other thing. Now, what you think could be, particularly the senior citizens are significantly affected, who are not having any government job or anything, who are self-employed but senior. For instance, recently they have reduced the saving bank rate also from 4 to 3.5%, ordinary saving bank rate, and then I think it's a big squeeze which is taking place. Don't you feel so?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just now he has done it. I mean, it was just announced about maybe 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I agree. I mean, as I told you, the maximum rate of interest for a loan should not be more than 9%. And the minimum rate of interest on fixed deposit should not be less than 9%. Okay. And I would take another step. I will tell all our industrialists, we give you freedom to borrow from banks in America, not foreign banks. We got a lot of foreign banks here, but regulations around their throat. I'm saying the American banks will give you a loan at 2% interest.
Yeah, maximum 3%, maybe. Right?
Yeah, 3 may be rare, but 2 is, I know.
Yeah.
And they are this time right now aching to give the money because they are not able to give it to businesses due to the lockdown there.
Correct.
Tell the businessmen, say, go abroad, take a loan, and here they will get a minimum return on their investment, which will not be less than 7%.
Yeah.
Or they can lend here. They bring it here and lend it here to our banks or something like that. So their opportunities are many, but it requires a thorough grounding in economics, which means macroeconomics. You taught finance, you must be under great pain to see some of the announcements that are coming out of the finance ministry. But you're a gentleman, so you won't say about it. Whereas today, the country, the world has become highly sophisticated in economic matters. You need to know the macroeconomic effect of every step you take. You reduce the interest on savings. What will happen is the savings goes down, the investment goes down, therefore growth goes down. You are in a bigger soup. You may be thinking in budgetary terms that you are saving so much money, but that's not so. Your thoughts?
I think the current situation is out of the box thinking. I think is extremely important. Not the old style thinking of the babus and. But unfortunately, we seem to have a lot of these people inside the box. There is no out of the box thinking or anything. You see, we have 420, 410 or so, if I remember correctly, billion US dollar in foreign exchange. And
everybody
we are
not.
Yeah, absolutely. We have got a huge foreign exchange reserves, and you subtract 8 months of import bill from that, it's still huge. It's over 400.
Correct.
And
we are invested in all these US government securities for all earning some 4.5%, 3.5%, another thing. I have a feeling, maybe I'm extending it too much. Most of these current bureaucrats are all were started their school and college during the shortage days of the 50s and 60s, where they used to stand in queue for rice and coffee powder and milk and other thing. I think we are not really in that shortage type of a situation at all. For instance, even today, we have adequate amount of grains and various other provisions available. It's only a question of logistic. How are you going to deliver it to the people? And similarly, how are you going to provide more cash in the hands of people? I think that's what is very, very critical.
I would suggest.
Yeah.
There are about 4,700 commodities which are subject to excise taxes.
Correct.
Indirect taxes. If you rank them according to their contribution to the treasury, the first 22 give you 90%.
Right.
Remove the remaining. Scrap this GST crazy Chidambaram idea, which we just, because of Jaitley's fondness for the Chidambaram, we adopted it. And now I'm not speaking today. I spoke that time. I was almost alone in Parliament. And we gave the software to a private company called GSTN. Fortunately, after 1 year of haranguing, the Prime Minister saw my point and nationalized it. But the whole system is in a mess. And so free people, give them incentives. Our people are very hardworking people. And our women save, as you yourself say, that the greatest savers in the world are the women of India. So nobody wants to splurge. It's ostentation is not part of Hindu dharma, I'm telling you. It's Gyani and Tyagi who has the highest status in our society. So motivate people, make them take money as loans and use it sensibly. They are all our youngsters now. What a young population we got. Give them encouragement. Tell them that bring new innovations, desalination of seawater, thorium research, health research. And health, we have now got one malaria medicine, which Mr. Trump is crazy to get. You saw that. So, I mean, we have progressed so much. So now free the people, tell them, we will look after your financing, you get this done. That's how we should proceed.
Yeah. But unfortunately, Dr. Swamy, I should mention to you, we seem to be so much obsessed about, we will lose some 5,000 rupee tax here, 20,000 rupee tax there, another thing. As well as this domestic, small micro, fellows, like pushcart vendors and other thing, they are not paying taxes, they are having black money and other thing. I think completely there is a issue pertaining to our obsession. Well, as globally we have got $1 trillion or $1.5 trillion accumulated by people and kept abroad.
Now the obsession is on control. I remember in Commerce Minister when I started removing all these idiotic controls, people told me in my office in the ministry that no one will come to see you and salam you now anymore because they don't need you. So, we should have them come here, but people got psychic. Secretaries of the government and ministers got psychic pleasure from seeing people waiting in your waiting room for 2-3 hours for your appointment. So that is the mentality. You see, this is all the British legacy, which we have to, completely take it out of our system.
One last point I would like to ask you, is it appropriate time because of the crisis and other thing to reduce the size of the government? We seem to have a very huge government.
Size of the government? Well,
for instance, we have a Ministry of Steel. Steel is deregulated. I asked what does the Ministry of Steel does. They say they select the chairman of SAIL. For that, why do we require a huge paraphernalia of...
I'm not in disagreement, but the timing is wrong. Because right now we have to increase employment. We can't increase, add. Okay. But it should be done in the future. If your laws are simpler, you don't need so many people.
Yeah.